Hello, everybody. Hello for welcome and thank you for joining us today. First, a little bit about these online encounters that we love to have. That they are focused on the online residents. Today we have Anfal AlKandari who will be presenting her work, but also we will have an open discussion. This is part of our online program for artists around the globe. We started because of the pandemic. We weren't able to travel. Either artists going to Berlin, where the analog residency takes part. But we needed to keep the contact, we needed to keep the connection, the work with artists in South America, in Asia. So we said, okay, let's try to keep things going. And we found it really rewarding. We will keep doing so after the pandemic even. We're still on it. So this online program has been really interesting to welcome a lot of artists from around the globe. For now, we have people from Qatar, Korea, Japan, and Ireland. She's based in Berlin, but Siniat will be with us too in a couple of weeks. After this introduction a little bit, also thanks to everyone who joined. We have a couple of artists and former residents, so hello. I would like to introduce Anfal and leave her to start the presentation. I know that everybody has their camera off, that's totally fine. But if at some point you would like to say something, you can use the chat. As you can see, we are recording the call and the meeting will be uploaded to YouTube and social media. And yeah, that's it from my end. So thank you, Anfal. The floor is yours. Anfal, we don't hear you yet. The microphone.
I'm so sorry, forgot that. Thank you so much, Laura. Thanks for this opportunity. Thanks to Glagau Air team. I'm really delighted to be part of this patch as one of the online artists that's joining this residency. I'll be giving a very quick, short introduction to myself and to my art through the presentation. So I would like to share my screen. Just let me know because you can see it now.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So first, I would like to talk a little bit about myself. My name is Anfal AlKandari. I am an artist, half Kuwaiti, half Qatari, but I am based in Qatar. I have completed my MA in Fine Art Digital at the University of Arts London. And it was an online MA Masters. So this residency takes me a little bit back to those good 2 years I had just finished before the pandemic in 2019. I discuss different emotions through my art, and I use different mediums that I will be taking you through in this presentation. So the subjects that I most of the time discuss are the human behavior and emotions, especially the inner child, the dark and light shadow within a human self, and the parallel universes. And the process I use to explore those emotions and subjects is usually through digital drawing, paintings, manipulating photographs, animations and videos, and installations. Here I'll be talking a little bit on some of the projects that I've done in the past. This project I've done during one of the exhibitions I did here in Doha in 2019 during Ajyal Film Festival. And the work was mainly going around playing with old archive photos of my family. Those are all real photos of my family back in the 60s and 70s, where my mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunts are the subject of all those photos, where I scanned, and then I manipulated with digital drawing and collages in Photoshop. I added for them colorful elements, colorful subjects like flowers, nature, mountains, and different elements. And in some of them, sometimes I use some of the Arabic text or English text that mainly are text I write during my daily journaling, where I express my emotions, my feelings. So even those texts represent some of those emotions that I got from certain pictures that I used. And then I tried to take it to the next level by creating different videos. I will not show the entire video animation that I did, but a little idea for the audience. So those are videos that have different words, different movements, some of them in English, some of them are just abstracts, some of them written in Arabic. And the next step was where I presented the artwork was through an installation, where I had an entire wall covered with all the photos that I manipulated, and had a projection of the animated videos that I did. And here I had the chance to give the audience the possibility of being part of the artwork and to have an immersive experience out of it. So there was a lot of photos shared on social media of the audience taking photos with the moving animation, with the photos. And this project was one of the closest to my heart. And this project goes back to end of 2020, when the restrictions of the pandemic started to lighten a little bit here in Qatar. We had this exhibition that the subject of it was the pandemic and how it affected us. And it was a group show, where every artist explained their feelings and shared their experience in different formats. For me, I chose to do this installation with neon lights and the reflective mirror, where it had the 24/7 neon light on the mirror, but it was even mixed because we kind of lost the sense of time during the pandemic and the lockdown. And even on the colorful neon light boxes, it was the weekdays in Arabic, but it wasn't put in the normal order. It was mixed. Like for the first time you see it, you think it's done properly, but no. And the colors I used represented the emotions, the intense emotions that we had during that pandemic. And the mirror was an invitation for the audience to be part of the artwork and to reflect to their own feelings during the pandemic, and to remember what that time meant to them and what feelings that they got, and an invitation to dig deeper into their self and reflect on it. So if you see the mirror from far away, it's a very hazy picture. But once you go closer to the mirror, you would see a very clearer picture of yourself. And that was an invitation to go within the self and like explore your own emotions and what those feelings were and what did they mean for each different person. Here I have a different set of paintings that I did, some of them during the pandemic, some of them after, and this is like something I started doing only with the pandemic, when I started painting like normal paintings with acrylic on canvas. And I have different symbols that I always refer to that have different meanings for myself, either emotionally or from the culture and the environment surrounding me. So you can see the element of color of the symbols that are repeated in different paintings. And again, at the end of 2020, I had the chance to be part of a group show. And here I started to think, how can I present the theme, which was about the National Day of Qatar, but with a different perspective. And here I tried to merge between the paintings. So some of the elements on this aluminum reflective medium were printed from my main paintings. I took them digitally, I printed them, and I mixed them with other digital paintings. So this is a quick look at the different types of projects that I did, different type of mediums I used. And finally, quickly, I would just love to talk about my Glagao Air Residency, the project that I'm working on for the final show for the open studio. As a theme, I will continue exploring the same themes of the human behaviors, the inner child, the feelings, and that the new thing that I want to experiment and explore during this residency is playing with augmented reality and how to bring those paintings that I draw with my hand into life and have movement to them and introduce the audience to that experience, and also to experiment with sound. If I get lucky, I will have the chance to play with both, present it. If not, just presenting one of them would be a great achievement for myself. And that's it. Thank you. You can know more about me, about my art. You can visit my website. You can check my Instagram. I'm active there all the time. And you can reach out for me through email if you have any further questions, collaborations and ideas, anything. I'm open to all of that, and I'd be more than happy to reach out. So basically that's it from my side.
Thank you so much. I must say that I found really interesting, and it's a great position for a curator, find an artist so open to experimenting and research. And right now that you're interested in know more about VR, but really quite open to it. So I found that really amazing, I must say. I have some questions that I would like to share with you. And as I said, if someone wants to just jump in, is more than welcome. Yesterday we have the most lovely conversation about a lot of stuff, but I would like to point some aspects of your work and this presentation to know a little bit more about you. For example, as you show, your work is present and develops in a really different forms and shapes and techniques. I would love to have a conversation on or go deeper about how do you take the process of your work? How do you start, as you said, during pandemic, you are more close to analog painting and drawing, but we saw really very recent work, more installative, really visual, really inviting a reflection. How do you go from painting to this bigger scale projects?
Yeah, for me, like the art practice that I enjoy, like a start point for me, it's when I start painting, like this time alone in my own environment, in my own zone, having just the paintings, the canvas, painting all those emotions out without having in mind any certain idea or like something that I want to convey specifically to a certain subject, to someone. But always those paintings are the core essence when I start to work on a project or a group exhibition, for example. Like, how can I take something that was very personal to me, but to let it be more inviting to the audience and make it more personal to them as well, aside from my own feelings, my own private moments with those colors and canvas and symbols and shapes that I draw all the time. So it's like having different faces for the artwork, and it comes naturally, honestly. Like, I start here and then someone approach me for a group exhibition with a certain theme, then the ideas start to come up. Like, I go and visit back my paintings and I see an endless possibility of having a different type of artwork presented to the audience and inviting to them as well, and making it to feel more personal to them, not only for myself.
I found these two paths, as you were saying, like painting more intimate, almost just a personal approach that you have with that images that you're creating, and a second path, which is public, which is trying to connect with this audience, with this public. We talk a lot about interaction too, which is important for your work. Something that I think is just behind as the final goal is to create a playground for the visitor or the audience, to let them just play around or feel like a child for one moment. Why is this important to you? Why is that attractive to develop in your work?
Honestly, personally, when I visit an exhibition, the most memories I carry out with me when I leave an exhibition are the ones where I feel that my inner child was there. It came out, it was happy, it was playful. I didn't just see a painting, although I love seeing normal paintings and appreciate it. But the memories that I carry out with me and that stays with my mind are those immersive experiences, like the team lab experience in Tokyo, where you go into this massive digital exhibition and like, boom, like you are in a different universe, you're in a different place. So those are feelings I always cherish, and I wish my audience to have as well, and also to evoke their emotions, to give them the chance to think further than just an artwork that they would look at for a few seconds, appreciate, and then walk away. And when I see, this is for the adults, but again, I enjoy the most when I see kids who are from 3 years to teenagers. They still enjoy my work, although they don't know about the emotional impact of it. They don't know the meanings of the artwork, but it's attractive for them. Either it's a mirror or it's a moving image or different ways of presenting the artwork. that 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 is a goal I love to achieve. And whenever I see it in real life, I see a kid near my artwork for more than 1 minute, I feel like, yes, that's what I want to present.
Yeah.
Because I am a believer that an artwork shouldn't be just a piece of a gallery. It could be found in everywhere, and in the streets, in the parks, in the malls, and the train stations, and it's open to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a thing always in my mind when I present an immersive experience of my art.
That's a really beautiful thought that you totally can find. Of course, your paintings and your drawings are really playful and colorful, and the symbols are so attractive. These smiley faces are lovely, but also as we talk about these reflections, I think for me, I love any kind of artwork with mirrors, because you can, like, you can see yourself, you can make your selfie, and that is really fun, but also brings another level of you are reflecting yourself, you are seeing yourself inside the artwork. So almost like a click, your scale, your face is inside the artwork, so you feel somehow connected. In general, you like the immersion, but also why these approaches regarding reflection, immersion, and also now that you want to open to this field and in VR, when people puts the glasses and you are literally inside of the artwork?
As I told you, because the main subject that I always explore on a personal level, and even aside from my art, like I am a person who's very spiritual, who's very interested on the human consciousness and on the oneness of the universe, and how an individual person with his own feelings can immerse with the entire universe and humanity. So this is a very important subject for me. So you can see it always present in my art. And when it's out there, the mirror, as you said, it's like an invitation for a simple photo, like a selfie, where the audience might not think deeper. They just want to have a cool picture with a cool artwork that has neons, colors, and to have it with them. And for other audiences, it might touch them on a deeper level, and it might let them start evoke their feelings and their emotions about, like, wow, I'm part of this, but again, I see my face. And what does that mean when I see my face with certain colors, with certain words, with certain sentences? So it's an endless invitation for the exploring of the feelings, for the human feelings, for the different layers of the soul that is settled within us. So that's why I'm still enjoying playing with the reflection in my artwork. I have presented 2 times so far. I might present it even more in the future. And maybe at one point I will change that. We never know. But so far I'm enjoying doing this type of art.
Yeah, I think this emotion on this deeper level, we even talked about it yesterday in our preparation talk with the other curator of Glow Hour, Maria Gelatorre, which we were talking about the images and all the layers that they hide, or they have every image. I would like to open with this question to the discussion to everyone, because we were talking about this aura that has the image, and how you as an artist and also as a curators, how we can play around that, those codes, those cultural behaviors that we go around the images. How do you start working with these elements, that you develop them to both digital, to both analog, and why is this interesting, especially the image, and not, for example, a sculpture or other formats? Why you start in the images?
Personally, I'm a very visual person. When I see a photo, when I see a symbol, when I see even trees and nature and buildings and people moving, those things attract me, evokes my feelings, my thoughts. And when we talk about archived, for example, photos of my family, those are moments where like I get to see a different perspective of those people who I met in my life. They were part of it and passed away, but again, they lived 40, 50 years before I met them. And those images are like telling me stories that I never heard of, and aspects of their characters that I never saw. The playful grandmother who, when I was born and when I was a little bit older and I started to understand her, I saw a different aspect of her, the wise old grandmother, but I never saw the fun younger mother to her children, who's my mother, my aunts, my uncles. So always an image is an invitation to look further, that a human can have different versions of himself that is changing through the time. And I mentioned to that to you yesterday, like when I just few days ago saw a picture of me when I was 20 years ago. I was a teenager, or in the beginning of my 20s. I was like, wow, who's that person? I remember her, but she's not here anymore. And that's on a personal level. So you can imagine when you see places that meant something in a certain period of time, but later on it carries a different meaning and brings on a different feeling to the people. So through our art, we archive all of those moments. Even if I manipulate the photo, I present it in a different form, in a video and an animation. But again, for us now, it will evoke certain feelings. In the future, it will present something totally different for the future generations, that will let them start thinking how we used to live and how our ancestors used to be. So an image is a very important thing. Even those symbols, like at 2021, like when you see a smiley face, it means something to all of us. Like it's an emoji, it's a fun thing, it's something that might present happiness, but you never know, maybe it's a fake happiness. It's not a real emotion. You're just using something to hide something behind it. But maybe in 20 years, would that smiley emoji mean the same thing to those people will come after us? I don't think so. And it will be interesting to see how it will evoke their emotions and thoughts and ideas, and how they would explore those artworks presented at this time of our lives in the future. So I believe this parallel, different timeline of a humanity is very interesting, and to present it through art, it's so fascinating for me that I think I would never stop exploring, even if I grow older and in my life, I would still explore it that way.
Well, I really like this relationship with image as is a product of its time, you know, like it's the result, is the construction of a specific time and a moment. That is really true. We have a hand raised, and it's a really beautiful person. I don't know if Saida, do you want to jump in?
Hello, hi Laura.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, how nice to have you here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Of course, I wouldn't miss it. Yeah, I have a question for Anfal. I've had the pleasure to be a viewer of Anfal's journey as an artist in the past few years, and to see her work evolve and develop from a small and simple scale digital work into bigger installations, and then also take different shapes and forms, whether it's classical paintings or artwork installations presented in bigger exhibitions. But I want to go back to the process. And felt that the process is kind of personal and very intimate when she starts with drawing some of the paintings she works on, and you can sense a sense of freedom and when it comes to colors, whether it's the organic shapes in those paintings. But at the same time, although you mentioned, Anfal, that usually you don't have a plan when you start your paintings, but the strong presence of the iconography and the symbols and the motifs in your work is, I can see that it's very strong. And my question is, how do these symbols come into your paintings and into your work? You mentioned the smiley, but there is also like the plants, the palm tree, the pears, also like other characters or animals. I'm just curious to know how do these jump into the paintings or into the digital artwork?
Sure. First, thanks, Saida, for joining. Saida always have been a very supportive friend of mine, and she's one of the people who knows my work very closely. So it was a surprise question. I didn't know about this, but if I'm going to talk about the symbols that I use, yes, they do come from somewhere. As I said, I don't plan it, but each symbol represents something. For example, the palm trees, it's a mixture of my homeland here in Qatar and in the region, in the Gulf region. Like, you would see a palm tree everywhere you go to. And it represents a lot of our roots and where we come from. But for example, then you would see a pear. And I'm not a person who likes eating pears, but that's kind of a representation of my mother. Because I grew up, she loves to eat pears. And like whenever I go to grocery shopping, she would ask me, please, can you find me a good one, a big one, a red one? So it's very personal to her when I go and I get her some pears. And for example, the smiley faces, like I'm a kid from this era in life where a smiley face was in the culture universally. But again, as I mentioned earlier, it represents a lot of things. Most of the times when I draw a smiley in my paintings, I'm not that cheerful. I don't want to say that out loud, but it's the truth. Most of the times when I draw the smiley, I have a lot of emotions hidden. So it's like I'm just reminding myself, be happy, stay positive. But it's later on, it's a reminder for myself, this was a moment when you tried to pull yourself out of that dark spot with a smiley face, but look at you, you're in a better place now, and you wasn't. But again, it's like an invitation for the audience to see something else and to interpret the work differently. And for example, the astronauts, the funny human shape that I draw, it's like we are all at the end one soul. I'm a believer of that idea. And like, no matter how different or funny that shape looks like, but isn't it at the end the same? When you look at the painting, you wouldn't remember this was X and this was Y and this is his name and this is his story. You would remember only one type of shape that Anfal usually draws. So all those different symbols are fun symbols, but like they have different, deeper meaning to myself in my daily life and my childhood memory in my current life. So yeah.
Well, it was a really lovely and beautiful question, Saida. Thank you very much, because it was really pointy also about the meaning of those symbols, and that you take them as a really plastic exercise and really interesting, but also, of course, there is a lot of meaning on them. I don't know if there's other questions, Sinead. Maybe you wanted to have a share with us. We cannot hear you. With the noise.
Yeah, I've lost my mic. Yeah, you can hear me now, yeah?
Yeah.
I've just arrived into the talk because I've just come back from my vaccination. So unfortunately, I mean, and I mentioned to Anfal earlier that unfortunately I wouldn't be able to see it. But my question would be to you, Laura. Is there any way of seeing this?
Yes.
It's being recorded? Yeah, we can see it again. Yeah?
Yeah, we will upload the presentation that Anfal did and some of the questions we share here in YouTube and social media. I think we are done for today, because I would like to close with this beautiful question that Saida made, because she knows a lot your work, Anfal, so that is really lovely to have this another approach. I really enjoyed to have this deeper conversation about all the layers that we can find in your paintings and your installations. We are really eager to see more about your explorations and experiments around VR and new stuff. So thank you so much for sharing this stuff with us. And thank you to everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you to every single person who attended. That was lovely, and yeah, I'm eager to explore more. So we'll see. We will see it hopefully with the Open Studio, online Open Studio.
So we will have our next Open Studios on September, but until now, you can follow Anfal's work in our takeover tomorrow on Instagram. Go to Glogour account and you can see more of her work. You can reach her anytime, and yeah, that was a lovely afternoon, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.